everybody. I am going to do another Greyboxing stream today, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about some project updates and just show you more of my work process live. So we can jump right into it. I am first going to point out the new update on our project site, which is pretty fancy. So this is just the new dashboard, and we have the Feisty Ferrets project header up here, and then this is all pretty familiar, but we've also got a news stream here. And I'm actually going to take a look at the current tasks available for Dawn City Heist, which I did a gray box level, and I listed that as complete, so it's not listed here for me. But we do have the Greyboxing tasks still available, so if you would like to make a Greybox and you haven't already, you can feel free to contribute there. We also have a create sound effects or music task, so if you're interested in audio production, that's open. And finally, we have playtesting task, which is super important. We have 3 Greybox levels right now that are ready for playtesting, and we've already gotten some entries for that, which is awesome. I'm super excited to see the playtests coming in, and we even had a video that somebody recorded where they were talking out loud as they played through, and that's like super awesome. I'm really glad to see that. So as we get more levels, we will need more playtests, and we can use as many playtests as we get, because the more the better for playtesting. So if you would like to participate in that and play some games and give your feedback, that would be super awesome. And I'll be using a little bit of the playtest feedback. It wasn't for the level that I made before, and it's not for the level that I'm currently making because it's not published yet. But I'm going to keep some of that feedback that we've received in mind while I'm making this Greybox. So the other thing that I wanted to point out before I get started is the game design document, which looks like this on the homepage. And I put a link to this in the Discord earlier today. But I have added a section, so there's a table of contents here with links to all the different parts of this document, and there's also that same list here on the side. And I'm going to go to the levels section, to the list of levels. So here we can see a list of every Dawn City Heist level that currently exists and is accessible in the content portal in the Endless Mission. So there's the example level, and then we have 3 different Greybox levels. And for each of these, I've attached all the playtest data that we have for them. So this one was from a participant who submitted their playtest a few days ago. And then there's one that I did during stream for Brian's level. And then this one that I also did on stream for another level. So as we get more playtests, I will be linking those documents. And if you just go and click on these, it will take you to a PDF with all of the information that they wrote about the level. So you can use this, especially during the next task that I'm going to open up, which is the full level building task. So during that task, we will be improving the existing Greybox levels and fully building them with environment props and nice lighting and make it look really good. And the other thing that we're doing with that task is iterating on the levels, so making a bunch of changes to them to make them better. And we can use this feedback that people have submitted to do that. And some of the things that this playtest said were that it was easy to run away from the drones and not get caught. And I noticed when I was watching the video, some of the feedback was that the drones were just too slow. They wouldn't catch you even if you got seen by them. So I'm going to try to be conscientious of the balance of the drones in my level today. And I'm going to do some messing around with their speed and things like that. So I'll show you how you can change those things in your Greybox levels if you would like to. So with that, I'm going to hop right into the Endless Mission. And I have pulled up here the editor, and this is the Greybox level that I started making in my other stream last week, where I have the prototyping kit here because I started with the prototyping kit. And then here's where my level is. And right now there's 2 drones in here. There's 1 main room. I have Oni standing out front. So I'll just play through this really quickly. So I have kind of my entrance corridor here with the pillars, and if I run, I can talk to Oni and ask her about this, but I didn't actually write out all her dialogue yet. And then there's these drones. So there's this guy who moves in a rectangle. And then he just patrols that path. I put one hiding spot right here. And then there's this guy who goes up and down the stairs. And I can hide in here. And he'll go away. So that's all I really have. I have these staircases up here that kind of go nowhere. I have not put this floor in yet. So I'll be getting around to that today. Let's go back to the editor, and I'll just get back to work, and I'll narrate my process as I go. So let's see. What I want to do is, I think there should be a wall or maybe another room back here. Maybe I'll do like a doorway that's locked, and you have to find the key somewhere to get in that door, and there's another room back here. And then I want to have a second floor here. Maybe like a balcony and corridors on either side. This is almost reminding me of, like, this is going to be obscure. I don't know how many of you are going to get this. It's not obscure, but like Resident Evil 3 or 2. The Raccoon City Police Department, the main floor of that has like there's a lower level, and then there's a double staircase, and then there's a balcony with railings and other doorways and things on either side. And that's kind of similar to the layout that I'm thinking of here. So sometimes what I might do for this is make a paper prototype, which I showed a little bit in my All About Greyboxing stream, which that's basically just a drawing. It's a top-down sketch of the layout that you want for your level. And for something like this, I might do that, but I already have the basis for this structure, and I don't want to hop into a drawing program to do that right now, so I'm not going to. But it's a good idea. If you would like to try paper prototyping, I highly recommend it. So that's just a level design tip to keep in mind. I think the first thing I'm going to do right now is just add some more walls. So I'm going to take... I want to be in an environment only. So I will take this wall and duplicate it. And I'll move it over. And same for this one. Duplicate that and move it. It doesn't have to be exactly lined up, but the closer you get it, the better it will look. Not that looks are important for this, but sometimes you can run into problems with stuff clipping through each other if it's overlapping too much. And then on the other hand, sometimes you will get gaps if you don't put stuff close enough together, and then it's funky and the player might be able to squeeze through. So I'm just trying to avoid that with my architecture here. I think... I might even make these a bit bigger because I want this to be a decent sized room back here. So I'm going to move this and stretch that out. That's about right. There. Okay. And then I want another wall behind here. Duplicate this, and I will rotate this 90 degrees, perpendicular, and put it like that. There we go. That looks about right. So now I've got another room back there. And let's see. I wonder if I want to have another room on top of here, or maybe I'll put it up another level. This is interesting. I'm not really much of an interior designer, but you kind of have to be a little bit of everything when you're a level designer. So let's, I think what I'm gonna do, okay, I'm gonna change what I have here. I actually don't need that. Oh, but it's part of the staircase. Never mind. So I'm gonna grab a new thing. I'm just gonna grab a cube and stick this in here. Can go right in the middle there. I want this to be about the same dimensions as those staircase ends. I think my staircases are not perfectly symmetrical. That's okay. It's not a big deal for a gray box. And then I'm gonna bring this up to about the same level there. Oh. Like that, just about the same. I feel like kind of like Bob Ross for level design. Just put happy little trees and things. But we're really gonna get into that stuff when we do the full level building, because right now it's all just kind of ugly and white. But when we start adding props, that's when it'll get really visually appealing. Oh, I forgot. I did this and I forgot what my plan was here. So my plan, if you'll recall, was to put a door here, but that's okay. So in order to do that, I'm gonna make like some borders for my door. Push that out there. And before I actually get too crazy with that, I'm going to grab the door itself so I know what dimensions I'm working with. That is in the prototyping kit, and it's not considered an environment item. I believe it's in gameplay only, but I'm going to go into full view so I can see everything. And I will grab this regular door and key. I'm just going to take the whole thing and put it into gameplay. And if I go in gameplay only, can I see that? Yes, I can. Okay, cool. So now I'm gonna drag that over. And put that door. That's almost exactly, whoops. Almost exactly where I want it. Make it a little bit taller, I think. I want it to be the same height as my landing up here with the staircases. Just about. And that looks about right. So now I can take my, go back to environment only and look at the foyer and grab another of these cubes. I'll just duplicate this and move it over by the other staircase. And it looks like my door is not really centered here, so I'll go back into gameplay only and move it. There we go. That looks just about right. I think I need to move my first one over just a little so it's not jutting out of that staircase, and that looks pretty good. So now I have a door and a hallway into this room back here, but I also want this to be a full platform, so I'm going to duplicate this and make it a lot shorter and wider. I'm going to move it to where my door is and bring it up to the same level. And make it a little less wide. I want it to just fill in that gap. So it should be a little bit less wide than the door. Where's the edge of that? There we go. There we go. Perfect. So now I have a hallway and it's enclosed. So you're not going to be able to get in there except through the door. And what I think I'm going to do is put another wall at the back of this so that you also can't just walk over the edge of that landing to get in there. So let's actually take this, let me call this floor. And I'm going to duplicate this. You'll notice I tend to just duplicate a lot of things instead of dragging in new assets. That's just because it's faster a lot of the time. You can work with like 3 assets and just duplicate them and change them as much as you need, and that works fine most of the time. So let's make this longer. I want this to match my stairs and come out of the stairs that a little bit. Okay, so now I've got like a balcony kind of thing. And I think what I'm going to do is duplicate again from this perpendicular and move it there. That looks pretty good. I'm going to make it a bit wider so it goes right up to the wall. So something to mention that I haven't really gone over yet is that some objects will scale from the center, like this one. So if I scale it in and out, it will be equally scaled from the center. So like this side where I have my cursor is just as wide as this side. But that's not always true for all objects. Some of them, like the single wall, will scale from a lower pivot point. Like if I just grab this. Yeah. So this one, the bottom always stays right where I have it set, but the top gets higher. And that's just to do with how the object is set up. It does make some things kind of harder to do, but in other ways it makes it easier to do. Like for these walls, I know I want them on the floor. They're going to start there. I don't want them to expand down underground. It wouldn't hurt anything if they did, but I don't want them to. So it's nice that these scale that way. Okay, what was I doing? Taking this piece. I think I'm just going to extend that all the way. See, it would be kind of nice if this did extend like I just showed, but it doesn't, and that's okay. Okay, just a little bit. That's good enough. And then I will duplicate and move it over here. There we are. Okay, so I've got some kind of cool multi-level stuff going on here. But there's also a lot missing from this level because there's not a whole lot of gameplay. So, also, I never moved the key from the door. So the key is just hanging out right in front of the door. That's not very hard to get to. So let me put this somewhere where you're going to have to explore a little more to get to it. I'm just gonna, for now, stick it over here on this end of this balcony and put it like that. That's good for now. And I also want to include some more drones and some treasures to get. So let's take the back and forth bot that I have right there, and let's just make an identical one over here. I'm gonna have to move some things around, but actually, you know what? I want this guy to go in reverse of, oh, whoops, not 90, 180 to turn completely around. I want him to go the opposite direction that the other one does, but at the same time. So it's a little bit tricky, a little finicky. Okay. So the other thing that I'm going to have to do to make this work is move the points around a little bit. So let's go into full view first so I can mess with this guy. Let's take his patrol nodes. Pair 1. So this will start him under the stair right now, and I don't want that to happen. I'm also going to select the patrol bot because I want these to both start at the same place. So let's put him at the top of the stairs instead. And I actually want this rotate node, instead of 340, I want it to be 20. And then the other one, I'm going to do the exact opposite. I want this one to be 340. And that will make it so that he looks up and down as he goes up and down the stairs. So let's take this move and rotate pair, the whole thing, put it down by the ground, and put it, I want it about even with where the other bot is. So that looks about right. It's like a little bit off, but that's okay. Let's just test that out. First I'll save because I've done a bunch of stuff here. And let's test out and see if that looks okay. Oh, I think I forgot to do something. I forgot to put his return to patrol trigger at the start so that he won't keep chasing the player. So now if we look from here, we can see both of them going in unison. Up and down the stairs, but opposite directions. I think that's about the effect that I wanted. And I think if he catches me, he will chase me. Oh, but he got to his patrol bound there, so that didn't happen. This guy, is he still buggy? Yeah, still got some bugs to work out. So let's try and fix those. With the drone behavior, and I think it's related to the start point. So it might be better actually to have the start point be a little bit farther away from where the drones are. So let's find where I put that. It might still be in the prototyping kit. Let's look. Yeah, it is. Okay, I'm going to move this out into gameplay. And then I'm going to take it and move it back just a little bit, like in front of where I had Oni. And then I'm going to take each of my drones and make sure that their territory bounds are on top of it. So one there. And this one here. And this one is over there because I forgot to move it. And now that should work. So I'm hoping that that will fix that issue I came into. I'm also going to clean up this drone's other borders around their patrol area to hopefully account for any problems I might have with that other drone. So I can actually move this and make it a little shorter, like so. And, oh, I need to take this one and bring it up. And this one, not that one, this one. And bring it down. And make it shorter. And that should be all right. Let's see. It's possible we may still have some bugs here with the drone behavior. I'm hoping that it will resolve itself, but we'll see. So now if I get caught, I let him look at me and turn around. But he got me and now he goes back. Okay, that's what we want. Move here. So I moved close enough to the hiding spot that he didn't see me. I think I will also want to put some more props or like pillars or things in here to kind of get the line of sight to go away. And that's not really a gameplay thing, that's more in the player's head, because nothing about the level geometry actually determines whether or not the drones will pursue you, except for their territory bounds. So, here, got me, and he tried to chase me, but he hit the trigger, so he went back. That's what we want. And what about this guy? He sees me. And oh, yeah, he got me. But this is what happens if you get caught, I think, 5 times. So that's correct behavior. So I'm going to go back to the editor. So that all appears to be working as desired. And now I can keep building. Oh, I didn't test my door. Let's do that real quick. What should happen if I run up to this door, it should be locked, and I should get a red X icon. So that tells me I can't open the door. It looks like I can't jump over that, which is good. I mean, eventually there will be a wall there. So, oh. So interestingly, they're not going back to the white, which they should. This guy's not even chasing me, actually. That's interesting. These drones are causing some problems. Now he's back to white. I think that's because he caught me. Happens if... So that time he went back. Oh no. Some inconsistencies here. Like that. I don't know what happened there. I'm really not sure. But for now, I'm just going to say I hope that doesn't happen. Okay, I can do that because he's really bugged. I don't know what's wrong with this guy. So this is something that can happen in game dev sometimes, is you get an issue and you just don't know what caused it. So let me return to the editor and see. I know I didn't test the door, but I'm pretty sure it would work. Let's see if I can figure this out. So what comes to mind is that the return to patrol triggers are maybe not in the best spot. It could have to do with these overlapping borders, because I know that was a struggle I had last time. So what I might do is try to account for that by making... Uh-oh. I think this guy's not in the right category. Oh, no, I just need to be in full view to see that. Okay. Anyway, I need to make this... I'm just going to acknowledge that that bug is a thing that exists and account for it by trying to avoid situations where it would occur. I don't know at this time how to fix that, so I'm just going to work around it and make sure it doesn't happen. And I think I can do that by just avoiding having these drones overlap territories. And what I can do, because what happens if the player gets spotted and then runs over here, and clearly there's still a line of sight between the drone and the player, but the drone's going to go back to patrol. So what I might do to account for that a little bit, it won't be perfect, but I think I'm just going to put a pair of pillars. Let's go into environment only view when I do this and duplicate that. I'm going to put some pillars here so that in the player's mind, and I'll go back to full view to move these apart a little bit. It looks like, well, maybe I went behind the pillar and the drone didn't see me because the pillar obscured the drone's vision. And I'm just gonna make these a little bigger. Actually, let's do that evenly. So let's do 2.75. Each of them so it's still perfectly round. And ideally, this will help the player think of that as like a, oh, okay, it makes sense that it's happening, that the drone went away when I went over here, and not be like, well, it should still be able to see me. This is kind of my cop-out there. And again, this is a case where I would like it if these scaled from the bottom up, but that's okay. So that's about where I expect the ceiling to be. So I just have these massive pillars in here. Let's test this and see if that helps our drones behave better, because they're misbehaving. Now, if I go over here, oh, I'm behind the pillar. He disappeared in his mind. And this guy, if you see me and I walk over here, you will get to your bounds that I have over here and then stop seeing me. That's what I want. But if you see me and I just move a little bit here, why do you do that? That's fascinating. Sometimes he gets me and sometimes he doesn't. I'm truly confused. So that's a territory bound that he hit. And then he got me and he went back. He tried to chase me, but he got to his other trigger. That's so weird. It happens so inconsistently. That's hard to track down. There. So, well, now I am going to cop out and just say, I hope that doesn't happen when people play test it. I will look into that more on my end and see if I can solve it. Saw me, but chase me through the stairs, and that's intentional. So now I'm going to go and grab this. Got that. And we'll hop back down here. And now I can open it in the hallway into this other room. Okay. So what I'm going to do next, let me see, about 25 minutes left. I'm going to add some coins and populate this space. But before I do that, actually, I might make these drones a little faster, because some of the feedback that we got that I mentioned from before was that the drones are slow and you can just run away a lot of the time, and they won't get you. So what actually determines the speed at which they chase you is the chase mover. So this is what tells the drone to chase the player when they are seen, and it looks for this chase mover node, which is on the player. And so what the chase mover does is it says, when the player is spotted, go to the chase mover node. And the chase mover node is attached to the player, so it's always right where the player is. So this chase mover node has a script on it that determines how long it takes the drone to get there. And right now that is set to 3.5, and that means that no matter what drone chases me, because they're all set to go to this chase mover node, it will always take all drones this long to get to the player. Now, 3.5 seems to be a little long, and people might want to have a more exciting chase where they actually feel like they might get caught. So I'm going to shave that down by 1.5 seconds, so now it takes 2 seconds, and I'm just going to test that and see what that feels like. Trying to see me. Oh, yep, that was significantly faster. I felt like it was hard for me to get away. So now if I try to run, oh darn it. Man, I just can't get these drones to behave. That's not supposed to happen. Darn. I'm really gonna have to look into their behavior a bit. But if I try and test this some more, if I try and run away, they get me a lot faster. So I guess I will leave it at that speed for now. Something that I want the player to be able to do is, if they get spotted, I want them to, if they're quick enough, be able to run away and get to a hiding spot, because that just feels really good when that happens, when you narrowly escape and are able to hide. So maybe I might bump this just a bit by 0.5 seconds. Yeah. And I really would like it if this drone didn't chase me forever, but I'm not sure what I can do to stop it from doing that, because I don't know why it's happening. I'm just gonna move this a little. I don't think that's it, but anyway, with the drone behavior being as good as I think I can get it during this stream, I am going to start adding more gameplay stuff and not worry so much about the drones. So I'm going to go into gameplay only view, and I'm going to grab from the prototyping kit a coin, and I'm just gonna duplicate this and put it into, oh, I can't, full view, put it into gameplay. And now I can see it in gameplay, and I can duplicate it. Oh, whoops. I don't need to duplicate that yet because I can't see it. Let's move it into our mansion first. So I'm actually going to put this first one right in the view and the path of that drone. Make it kind of a challenge to get over there. And maybe I'll hide a few sneaky ones in the corners. Oops. And I'm just going to throw these around where I think it might be fun or interesting to get them. So I'll put one behind that pillar. It's not really behind from the front door, I suppose, but I'll put one. Where should I put this? I'll put it under the stairway over there. And I'll put a few on this landing. Or maybe I'll just do the one there and put one on each side of the upper staircase. So I'm just making a bunch of these. Hard to have too many coins, really. The minimum requirement for the Greyboxing task is 5, but you are totally free to do more than that, and I think more than 5 coins is ideal. Okay, so there's just some coins around now. And when I test this, I should be able to run around and get the coins, and it'll update my counter, but I think there's still... Yeah, so I don't know how many coins I want in this level total yet, but it'll say out of 1 no matter how many I have in here. So I'm going to want to change that because I want it to reflect how many coins there are total in the level. So how I do that, and I'm going to change this later because I'm going to add more coins than I currently have. But let's see, how many coins do I have? An easy way to do this is just collect all the coins you put in your level and take however many it says. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so now I will go into my game logic, coin collectible smart condition, and set my goal to 8. And that will make it say out of 8 when I collect a coin. So I think I showed how to do that before, actually, but it's good to get a little reminder. Now, another thing I notice about my drones is they're kind of slow. And that's how it was in the example. I balanced it on the side of easiness because I don't want to overly frustrate my players the first time they're getting into the experience. But now let's make it a little more difficult. I want these drones to move faster. So how you do that is go to their move nodes, and those are in those pairs of move and rotate. But in the move nodes, like the chase node, it has a duration, and that's how long it takes the drone to get there. And so this particular spot, this is how long it takes him to go from here to this one that I have selected. So that's already pretty short, but let's make it even shorter. Let's cut that in half, make it half a second. And this one is how long it takes him to get from here to there. And that's currently set to 3.5 seconds, but if I set it to like 2, maybe 2.5 seconds, That'll be significantly faster. And then I like to make these symmetrical because it should take the drone the same amount of time to cross the same distance as it did before. If you have a drone that's going really fast from here to here, and then it turns around and goes really slow the same distance, that's kind of weird. And your player might not be expecting that behavior because it's inconsistent. Like, when you observe this drone moving this way, you're forming a rule in your head that the drone moves that fast and moves from that spot to this other spot. And then when you see the same behavior but it's different, it starts to break down the player's understanding of how it works. And we want to avoid doing that unnecessarily and just confusing the player. So I want to make sure that these are consistent. So that will make the rectangle guy faster. I'm going to do the same thing for this guy. I'm going to make this take 2 seconds instead of 3. Actually, you know what? The ones on these staircases, it's kind of hard to get past them in that amount of time because the staircases slow you down. So what I might actually do to make the staircases easier to get up, and this is a common trick in level design when you have surfaces that are not smooth, I'm going to put an invisible surface on them to make it so that the player is actually walking up a smooth slope, but it looks like they're walking upstairs. So I'm going to leave those drones at the same speed, though, because I think they're okay for balance. It'll just be this main guy in the foyer who goes faster. So let's go back to environment only and take the foyer and the staircase. So I can actually just use, I'll just duplicate this cube because that'll make my life easier. I will duplicate this and put it on top of where the stairs are. Zoom in there so I can see what I'm doing. I want this to be the same width as the stairs. Just about. And I want it to be pretty thin. And I want it to be the same length, not as the staircase bottom, but as the hypotenuse of this triangle. So I'm actually going to rotate this. And I'm just I'm turning it into a ramp, basically. So it's kind of easier to see from a side view. And then you might go, but the player's going to see this big white ramp and it's not going to look like stairs anymore. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it invisible. So let's see, is that about... That looks almost right. Yeah. I'm just going to put it down a little bit so that it's kind of easier to get up on. That looks about right. So, oh, you know what? I may have misled you. Because I can't actually get rid of this visuals. But what I can do, I think it might work if I make it transparent. I'm just going to do an experiment here. So if you search for, you won't need to do this for most greyboxing purposes. You might do this when we build full levels to make things look pretty. But if you stick and I'm actually going to rename the ramp so I don't get confused. If you stick a material manager, so you can look that up in the library and search material, and material manager is what you want. And if you stick that on there, that will allow you to change the color of the material of your object. And what we actually want is in the material field on your material manager to take Smart Material Transparent and drag that there. And then I will select this main color field. And what I want here is the alpha value, which determines how see-through something is, and set that to 0. And that should make it fully see-through. It may not, but it should. So I can't see it. Oh, I can kind of see it. So that's the problem. Even a fully see-through material, sometimes you can kind of see because of the lighting settings. But it's mostly see-through, so that might work for my purposes right now. And let me just test this and see if that lets me get up that staircase faster. It takes longer for the player controller to get up a staircase without that invisible ramp on it, because it's like dragging a toy on a string up a staircase versus dragging a toy on a string up a smooth slide. It like clunks along onto every stair. But this way it's a lot smoother. And he saw me, so he's going to catch me, but then it's desired behavior. And we can also see this drone here going faster. So you'll have to be a little more careful to get past him, and that's what I want. So now, let me just do this again. If I follow him carefully, if I sneak up here, I can get past him just barely. And that seems okay. So now I'm going to want to take... Whoa. Well, that shouldn't happen. He should not be able to get me through the stairs. I might have to do some more tweaking on those territory bounds. That's probably the most challenging part of building levels for Dawn City Heist, is getting the drones to work the way you want them to. Because they just have some kind of particular funky ways of working sometimes. And it's interesting because I don't want him to be able to see and get you through the staircase. But I also don't want it to be, if the player gets spotted right here, and then they move right here, that the drone goes back to patrol. So what I could do is put something like a hiding spot right here on the edge, and that might help that problem a bit. So I guess I could try that. But before I do that, before I forget, what I want to do is take this ramp. I'm gonna go into full view and name it invisible ramp. And let me see if I have time to do this here. I will duplicate that. I'm gonna unparent it from this staircase and put it on the other staircase and move it. So that this staircase is also easy to walk up. And then I want to do the same thing on the upper stairs. So I'll duplicate that. Whoops. And where are those stairs? Oh, it's all part of the same stairs. Okay. So I can actually just put this one back. And see, sometimes you forget the things that you do, and that's why it's important to name things well. Just like when you're programming, it's important to comment your code. Because that, you're never going to remember every single thing you did. It's just not realistic. So you can make life easier for yourself by putting little notes so that you don't have to remember. You can just read what you wrote. And the clearer that is to someone who's not you, the better. Even if you think, I know how I talk, I'm going to understand what this means later. If it's like in some kind of code that you think you understand, but then the next morning you come back and look at it and you're like, what the heck was I talking about? That's not ideal. Just make life easier for yourself and name things clearly. That's why I don't have things named like Funky Shape 01. I have it named Stairs because it's the stairs. I have to make this a little different from these stairs because they're a different shape. But that is looking just about right. Probably move that over a little, up a bit. That should be mostly okay. And let me duplicate this again. Stick it on the other staircase. Move it over. Voila. Okay. Let me just test those. I like to test every little step that I do, because if you do a bunch of work and you don't save and then you jump into testing and then something's broken, it's harder to tell what was the problem. So it's kind of like in science, and people are doing an experiment, they test one variable at a time. You don't want to have a whole bunch of variables and mix up your results. Know what the cause of your problem was. I can walk up here. It's a little bit easier. There's the first step kind of juts out a little weird, so I might want to fix that. It's tougher with this staircase because it's steeper. But yeah, I'm gonna need to put something there to stop that drone from seeing you. That guy, that was fair. He was supposed to be able to see me, so I'm not mad about that. This staircase is a little tricky. That's like nitpicky. I can get up and down them, so that works fine for now. So what else do I need here? I need a target treasure, because that's the whole point. We're trying to get a cool item for this heist. And without a target treasure, you can't win. Even if you get to the exit door, it won't open unless you have found a target treasure. So for this mission, I think in this fancy mansion, I want them to be some kind of exotic collector, maybe, and they've got this... Where is it? Oh, whoops. I need to go into the prototyping kit, gameplay objects, and find a target treasure. And I'm going to choose this weasel, the weasel in a jar. And I'm going to move that. Let's put it in this locked room, which I haven't really populated with things yet, but I will at some point. And now... and I get the door and get in there, or get the key for the door, open the door, get in there, should be able to get that treasure. So let's do that. I'm sprinting right now. That's another thing, is I'm still debating whether or not to nerf the sprinting ability, because as one of our playtesters pointed out, it's often possible to just sprint past a lot of things and not have the drones get you because they can't outrun you. Although this drone down here, well, the drones in this level can outrun me now because I made them faster. Okay, here's our target treasure. We have the weasel in the jar here. And if I walk over here, it will update the thing in the upper left that says target treasure collected. And now if I had an exit door, I could win. So I still need to populate a lot of things in this level, but it's starting to look like a level. So I'm going to save this, and I think we are almost out of time here. So I'll just end it there. But I've got the basics of my level, almost everything needed to be a fully completable level. And I think that's pretty good. I'm pretty satisfied with that. Obviously, there's some problems with the drones, which I will look into troubleshooting that. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with that. So I hope that this was informative and enjoyable for you guys to watch. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye.